Hello, Scorpio. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Scorpio is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. This reading is totally free. If there is anything you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Scorpio, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. Seven of Swords. There's a lot in front of you right now that is trying to distract you from your mission in life. Okay? I feel like right now you're someone who is trying to stay focused. You're trying to ignore the doubts, ignore the haters, ignore the criticism, and keep in check that inner critic, right? That is trying to tell you, you should just give up, it's not working, and all that kind of nonsense, right? Let's put this card into a little bit of context and see kind of what you're doing and what some of your other energy is going to be. We've got that Eight of Swords. We're dealing with it, okay? We've got a Four of Wands. We've got a Queen of Swords. The Wheel, the Wheel of Fortune. Look at that. And a Three of Swords. The Three of Swords in this case, I think, is a very important card because it represents our memory. It represents the way that we are able to understand what our thoughts are actually doing to us and how we need to change that. This is a lot of thinking. Air. That's preventing our human time from synchronizing with the divine time. Okay? We may feel that our mind is interfering with our synchronicity with the world, of us being in sync with the universe. Okay? Here we have an Eight of Cups, a Knight of Wands, a Tower, and a Nine of Pentacles. Look at that. To me, this is the gain. This is progress. This is now we're back to feeling like we are in harmony. Things are in sync, and we're reaping the rewards. Those benefits are coming through. Okay, but we have to deal with this mental energy, and a lot of that mental energy is unconscious programming, unconscious complexes, things from our past that are still haunting us, an inner dialogue, things that we learned when we were kids that just don't apply anymore. The Three of Swords is, it's a card of heartbreak, and it's a card of sorrow. It's a card of feeling that we're going through pain, right? But very often this is the memory of pain. This is an emotional kind of energy, especially with our Eight of Cups and, the rest of the Swords cards too. Then it might be that we keep experiencing the same kind of pain in our lives, not realizing that this is from something long, long ago, that we need to recognize this so that we can move beyond it. Okay? This is, it could be anyway, the reliving of an experience, okay? That we keep thinking about something painful and it's hurting us again. Because as far as our body, our heart, our soul, our mind is concerned, it doesn't matter if it's the past or the present or the future. If we're feeling the feelings now, it's happening now. Okay? So we might experience something one time, but we'll feel the pain of it, the effects of it, 50 times in one day because we keep thinking about it. We dwell on it, right? The power of our mind. We're directing our thoughts toward something low vibration, something negative, something painful or harmful to us, or something some memory from long ago. We keep revisiting the same thing, and it's like it keeps attacking us. So I think this card is very good because it's saying that we're going to break with that. We're going to break with that cycle. We're going to realize that some aspect of our mental energy has been imprisoning us in this Eight of Swords. Okay. And of course, the Tower card here, it's the energy we don't really want. It's the challenge or maybe the difficulty here today. And that is really like breaking us out of this mental prison. Let's select the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. Oh, we got 2 of them. Look at that. Okay, I'll take it. We're going to set these carefully over here as our mystery cards. We're going to put Tiny Bob Ross there, and he'll have to just be responsible for both of them. Don't let them go anywhere. We're not going to look at that card until the very end, those cards, until the very, there's 2 of them. They will tie everything together. They will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any point during this message you feel like you might know what those cards are, put your prediction in the comments, okay? Now, as we look around the room, we see 2 major arcana energies, right? The Wheel of Fortune, luck, divine timing, synchronicities, harmonious change, feeling like the universe is coming to our aid, that the universe is conspiring to help us, and this is expansion and growth and profit and prosperity. This is saying that we're getting to the top of the wheel. Luck is on our side. Things are going well for us. And this, of course, is the breakthrough, the Tower, the breakthrough that has to happen so we can access this. We can create our own luck. We can activate the Wheel of Fortune, but the mental energy here, right? The mental energy is distracting us, interfering with that, and sort of imprisoning us and keeping us imprisoned, preventing us from activating the Wheel of Fortune. See, we need this breakthrough of the Tower to break through the thought patterns, the beliefs, the habits in our mind that are preventing us from accessing this. Yeah. So we've got our 2 major, very important. There's a breakthrough coming for you that's going to activate the Wheel of Fortune. Perfect. That's good news. That is wonderful news. Okay? You've got fire and fire. You've got a little bit of water, a lot of air, and the earth energy at the end. The earth energy at the end, let me just tell you, the long-term outcome here, gain, profit, success, growth, health, well-being, expansion, all the things that the Wheel of Fortune promises you. This is the visible sign of progress. This is something measurable. This is something that you can hold in your hand and say, it worked. It succeeded. Things are going in the right direction. It's your bank account balance. It's the level of fitness that you're trying to achieve. It's something in the physical world that you'll be able to see and look at, feel, taste, touch, smell, that says things are working, things are going in the right direction. It's the proof positive, right, of your efforts. And to activate that, of course, to activate the Wheel of Fortune, which is then providing this, right, this is the only earth energy we have. This is the materialization of your goals. And the ongoing, this is you living a successful life. We've got to get through the self-doubt. We've got to get through the past pain. We've got to go through the process of getting a handle on our thoughts by observing our thoughts, by knowing knowing what it is that we've got to let go of, by knowing what it is. We have to see the bars in front of us if we're ever going to get out of that bird cage. You know. We have a 7 of Swords plus the 3 of Swords gives us the 10 of Swords. And the 10 of Swords is that card of the birdcage, that there are programs in us that are running. There is it's almost a thought virus, right? It's something that we keep, our mind anyway, keeps returning to, that's interfering. That's what this card is right here, interference. There's something interfering with us synchronizing our watches with the divine watch, right? The Wheel of Fortune is the cosmic timepiece. It's Spirit's wristwatch. I'm not wearing my watch today. There's something preventing us, interfering with the process of us linking these 2 cards together. Well, that's what we're trying to do here with this Ace of Swords in the middle. We're trying to link together our own personal cycles with the cosmic cycle. We're trying to understand kind of what we need to let go of and what we need to do more of. This is a card, 4 of Wands, right? It's kind of like the checklist that we're trying to We're trying to do more of the right things and less of the wrong things, right? And we're sort of we're trying to make everything work like clockwork. You know, we have a plan, we try to implement it, we want everything to go smoothly. Why aren't things going smoothly? Why do I still feel as if I'm stuck in the mud? Why do I feel like all the hope is draining out of this situation? I've been trying my very best to get things going. Sometimes this card is about a sort of the completion of a cycle, for one thing. But I think of this card sometimes as the checklist, where we have a to-do list. And every time we check something off that to-do list, every time we accomplish something, it motivates us, right? So it really, like the technique here is to start with very simple things. Wake up in the morning, write it down on your checklist. And then when you get out of bed, when you wake up in the morning, you check it off your list. It feels empowering, right? So with this card down here, it may feel like we're just not getting things done, right? It may feel like the universe is against you. This interference is preventing us from seeing the timing of the universe. It's preventing us from seeing the larger cycles of life. It's preventing us, whatever this mental energy is, it's preventing us from seeing the synchronicities. It's preventing us from seeing the reason why things happen when they happen. Because the Wheel of Fortune, sometimes it's just the card of change. It's just saying some days you're the shit, some days you're the shovel. Some days you're at the bottom of the wheel, some days you're at the top. And it's just why? It's arbitrary. It's just the universe playing a joke on me. No matter how much I try to be productive and to get things done and just check things off my list, something always happens to interfere with that. And so we start to feel like it's this card's fault, right? But what it really is, it's our own mind interfering. We're not able to sync up. If these cards get synced up, this is like we've synchronized our watch with the spiritual timepiece, and things are going to happen when they happen, and we're going to know exactly when to make a move. We're going to know how to navigate through life. We're going to get more green lights. You're going to know exactly when to change lanes before that other person cuts you off. You know, things are going to just start working in that harmonious way. A lot of weird coincidences are going to start happening. A lot of doors are going to start opening where there weren't any doors before, right? And that's what we want. But this mental energy is interfering with the process. And the 7 is kind of, we feel like we are trying to make progress, but something keeps happening to us. Okay, so we feel that there's an opposition. That's what the 7 of Swords is all about. We're that central sword. There are these other swords that are coming in that are pointing at me. Every time I walk outside, it's like there's these soldiers there with their spears and saying no, right? So it may feel like we have resistance from the external world, but I think that there's something going on inside of us. There's some internal resistance that might be thought patterns, habits, internal dialogue, the inner critic, and a sort of attachment to some kind of past issues, things that have happened way back in the day. Okay, that might still be affecting us now and preventing us from, maybe believing in ourselves or believing in our future or releasing ourselves from all of that negativity so we can synchronize our watch, or synchronize our human time, synchronize our efforts with the efforts of the universe. Because like I said, when we activate the Wheel of Fortune, it's like the universe conspires to help you. And so we're down here doing things on the best way we can. The universe is here trying to send blessings our way, but something's interfering with that. That's the 8 of Swords. And it's beginning to feel like we just can't get out of this. These two cards together, the 8 of Cups and the 8 of Swords, we're helpless and hopeless. Right? We're feeling helpless and hopeless. Well, just having that feeling and saying that to ourselves is creating it. Okay, we have to understand the power of our words, the power of our thoughts. And that's part of our 3 of Swords. But the Queen of Swords in the background here, there's something from the past that you have to understand. Okay? You understand how it's influencing your life now, and we've got to let it go. We've got to work through it. We've got to do whatever we can do. I feel like you've been a little bit cranky lately, okay? Because there's something that it's frustrating to have this resistance Okay? It kind of feels like we're getting to the point where we don't even want to try anymore. The queens are always looking at the past. The queens are trying to understand the past in order to move forward into the future that we really, really want. Whatever it might be. That's kind of a general rule for the queens of the tarot, trying to understand the past in order to produce the future, in order to give birth to the future, right? Well, that's what's happening whether we like it or not. Your past is influencing your present and thereby influencing the future as well. So we have to understand what is the influence from your past that is causing this kind of disconnect or this interference, our ability to synchronize or harmonize, our inability to see the signs and symbols and synchronicities in our lives. Okay? If you don't believe that something's possible for you, it won't be possible for you. If you're out there looking for the signs and you're open to receiving the signs from the universe, guess what? You're going to see them. Okay. I think with our Knight of Wands over here in the environment, we're going to be embodying more confidence. So is there something that's interfering with your confidence here, right? And very often it is, especially with the Seven of Swords. If it feels like every move I make, something's against me, every time I try to take a step forward, something pushes me back 2 steps, I'm going to start to feel like the universe doesn't like me. I'm going to start to lose confidence. All these cards together are sort of this is an insecurity, this is a lack of confidence, right? We're breaking through the other side though, people. Okay? We're breaking through the other side because we're realizing that negative thoughts, and it's hard not to be negative. When we feel the resistance, it's hard not to just to think negative thoughts, right? We have to control the way we're thinking, be very aware of the words we're using and the dialogue we have with ourselves. One way to do that is to start a process of gratitude. Okay? Pausing to just appreciate things. Appreciate your morning cup of coffee, right? I feel like you're just kind of like, you're taking a moment in the kitchen, you're getting your cup of tea or your glass of water or your coffee in the morning, and we're just like realizing that this kitchen, maybe it's early in the morning, like if you're like me, I wake up at 5:30, I go into the kitchen, it's still dark, I get my cup of coffee, and we realize that our kitchen is the sanctuary, and we can have that gratitude and we can be thankful for this moment. And it's very hard to be frustrated when you're grateful, So I think that's one practice that we can do. Another one is positive affirmation. Let's do an affirmation card, a language of flowers. We can replace the negative thoughts with positive thoughts. It's not as easy to just stop. You can't tell somebody, stop saying negative things. Stop thinking negative thoughts about yourself. That doesn't work. If I could, I would. So what do? We replace them with positive thoughts, positive words, positive actions, okay? And I know it's not easy, but it will work. The forget-me-not. Remembrance. Memories and the past hold the key. Something is preventing you from doing that. Something is preventing you from saying those positive things and replacing the negativity with the positivity. It may be that when we were kids, we were told that we would never amount to anything, or we were told to shut up and be quiet, or sit down, or whatever it might be, that we were sort of trained in a certain way. Not intentionally, I don't think, but we learned certain things, that our unconscious complexes kind of think that it's true. And so those complexes are trying to protect us from something, protecting us from getting hurt, protecting us from being disappointed, protecting us from heartbreak. The complexes generally mean well, but they're like little kids that we've given the keys to the car, and why would we do that? They may have very good intentions, but they're going to crash the car, I guarantee it. Don't do that, right? But that's what we do unconsciously. So a lot of the time we're letting the kids drive the car. We may find once we shed some light on things that we are sabotaging ourselves in certain ways. That we might be in some ways even scared of a breakthrough, scared of success. Okay? And I can hear you saying no way. But it's something you're not aware of. By definition, it's unconscious. It means we're not conscious of it. But if we can if we can gaze at the past and see where those complexes, something like it, may have been created, then maybe we can trace that thread forward and see how it could be playing out in our lives a little bit, and see if we can remove some of these blockages. Let's do a botanical inspiration card. Strong synchronicity from the language of flowers, though, right? Memories and the past hold the key. Here we have the hydrangea. Thankfulness for understanding, right? There ties in both the exercise of gratitude and the understanding of the past. So another very strong synchronicity here. Before we can forgive one another, we have to understand one another. Before we can forgive ourselves or our past, our history, our parents, or whatever, our childhood, before we can let go of something, we have to understand it. We have to see it. We have to recognize that it's there. I can say out loud, I forgive all of my complexes. I release all of my bad habits and negative thoughts. All right, now I'm free. Well, it reminds me of The Office, right, where Michael Scott says, I declare bankruptcy. And Oscar says, well, you can't just say it. It doesn't make it true. He's like, I didn't say it, I declared it. But that's not it, right? We have to experience it. We have to understand it. We have to go through it and really realize it. The same with mystical experiences. You talk to people, they say, oh yeah, of course the world is one, we're all one consciousness. Yeah, I believe that. Believing something intellectually is different than believing it viscerally, from knowing it to be true, from having that experience. And so what we're doing with our mental energy is we're believing something so strongly that it feels like it's actually happening to us now. I think it was something long ago. Okay. And that's kind of and that's part of our Four of Wands too, is saying that we need to let go of the past so we can move to the future. Okay. Sometimes we need to ask, what is it that we're afraid of? Sometimes the Tower is that there's a resistance to a truth because we feel like this truth is going to really upset our world. Okay. Now, Path of the Serpent, let's talk about this. We've got the Eight of Cups. I wonder if there's some sort of, I wonder if you were really into something when you were a kid, but your hopes got just crushed. I don't know if there was just the money wasn't there, or somebody told you you're bad at it, or I feel like there's some kind of interests or hobbies or something like that you kind of were forced to abandon when you were a kid, right? But this is the card that says, presently, I don't feel right. Presently, something's wrong. I don't think there's anything necessarily going all that wrong right now, but we are reliving something unconsciously that's making us feel the hurt of it now. Okay. And sometimes on the other side of things, if we're experiencing resistance in our efforts, that we're trying to invoke the magic and the blessings of the universe, but we feel as if we're being thwarted. We feel as if there's some interference. Something keeps blocking our path, and we're starting to feel like it's kind of a futile endeavor. We're kind of saying with the Eight of Cups, what's the point? Every time something bad happens, it's just chipping away at these cups until they're not going to hold water anymore. There's only so much I can take, right? And I think that it's a cycle. It's a very vicious cycle that we're on. The card in the environment is the Knight of Wands, and it's a confidence. It's a motivation. Okay. I think that if we can recognize some of these things and we take a little bit of their power away, see those complexes and things, and the thoughts, the criticism, the dialogue, all this stuff, it consumes a lot of energy. And if we can see that, if we don't have to do anything about it, if we just look at it and acknowledge that it's there and that it's happening, that takes a lot of energy away from it. And that energy then we can use to break through. Okay? And this card is a burst of energy. It's kind of saying we're not one at a time in here. We're not we're not trying to just slowly, carefully ease our way through. We're kind of saying, you know what? This is it. I've had it. I'm done. I'm moving forward. I'm going to be free of all this stuff. And it's kind of like we're declaring it. But we're going to turn this into, practical kinds of things. This to me is someone who, like, I don't know. It's like, in my own case, living a pretty unhealthy lifestyle for a long time. Didn't get much exercise, wasn't really eating right. And it kept just feeding into itself, right? The more I would do it, the worse I would feel, and then I'd do it more and I'd feel worse. And it was just really a vicious circle. One day, you just sort of stand up and you say, I'm done. Right? And there's this burst of energy, this burst of motivation. And it could be inspired by something, by an event. It could be inspired by a word somebody says, or something will motivate us. Okay? And we'll push through. And that tower is sometimes sometimes it's an ego sort of collapsing. But what it feels like to me is that we're breaking through all the resistance of the mental energy here. That this tower is coming down and we're seeing things for what they really are. And we're going to be very careful of the words coming out of our mouth. See, we have the eye and we have the mouth of this card. You have to realize that what you say to yourself is prophecy. Whatever you say to yourself is a prophecy that more than likely will come true at some point. The things you say most will come true sooner and more prominently and with greater sort of visible signs, right, than other things. You say something to yourself once, okay, maybe not. You say something about yourself or to yourself 1,000 times a day for 5 years. I don't even know. I can't even calculate that high. That's something that is guaranteed to come true. It's guaranteed to change your life, and we're invoking that into reality. Okay, we're learning the power of thoughts, the Three of Swords, understanding the process of change on the mental plane, the words we use, the things we say to ourselves over and over and over again, the things we're reliving, the programs that are running, the things we're repeating to ourselves. It's transforming who we are. Thoughts are like that unseen force that are molding and shaping reality as we speak. The more positive things we say, the more likely we're going to have positive breakthroughs rather than devastating challenges and changes. Okay? So there is something to be said for just the simple repetition of positive phrases and words and affirmations. And I know a lot of this is like, well, it has to be translated into action and all that stuff too, right? Well, yeah, of course. But it has to start with an inspiration. It has to start with the will. Okay? And that will has to be liberated from the chains that are binding it, and it has to then begin with thoughts. I have to believe that this is meant for me. I have to see myself I have to say the words to myself. I have to repeat that positive phrase over and over and over again. I am worth it. I am good. I am healthy. I am happy. I'm strong. I'm capable. I'm creative. Over and over and over again, we say these things. And eventually, it begins to happen. It's, the body just tends to follow what the mind is doing, right? Whatever we think about most, the body's going to sit there at the potter's wheel and mold it out of clay. And it's going to come to us and say, here you go. And we're going to say, I didn't want that. What are you doing? This isn't what I wanted. And the body's going to say, well, this is what you've been thinking about nonstop for 10 years. Like, I thought this is what you wanted, So we're having that revelation that, wow, okay, the body's always listening. The mind, the unconscious, our organism, right, our spirit, our soul is always listening. Just like with kids, kids are always listening. We have to be very careful what we say, the words we use, and how we phrase things. And the result of all of that for you is going to be this Nine of Pentacles. Success, gain, positive, a positive trajectory. Things for you are going to go up and to the right. Yeah, and that's going to be your gauge, your metric for success. Things are going to go in the right direction. And then it's going to, the more things go right, the more like green lights we get, the more conversations tend to like result in that harmonious kind of energy. The more we get along with people, the more we're like smiling at people, the more gratitude we give out, the more things start going our way, whatever that means. The more we feel like the universe loves me. The universe is like on my team here, you know? Like there's something else out here supporting me, and this is unbelievable, right? Once we sort of banish all that negative energy, we're creating a vacuum that's sucking in the divine energy, right? It's a vacuum that is just drawing to us all of that good vibrational energy, the good spiritual light, that is going to seem like magic is happening in your life. Okay, let's look at the mystery card. Two of them. I believe we're going to have some water energy. I think we might have the Magician and some Cups cards, right? If you have a prediction, I want you to put it in the comments. Okay, let's see what we have. Well, it's the Fool and the Ace of Swords, and you know what the Fool is? The Fool is free. Right? This is amazing. I got to ring the bell. I wasn't correct in my prediction, but you know, this is even better. The Fool and the Ace of Swords. Because the Fool is free of all this baggage. The Free is liberated from all of these thoughts. The Fool is zero, no thought at all. We've banished everything out of the temple. We've gotten rid of all the energy, good or bad, everything. Clean slate, wiped it all out. Now I can bring in the Ace of Swords. Now I can bring in the truth, the intentional words and phrases. Now I can invoke the divine energy in whatever form and whatever configuration, whatever it looks like for you. And that's any kind of magical process, right? First you banish, you get rid of everything. And that creates a vacuum wherein you can choose what to allow in. So we're getting rid of all thoughts, and we're sort of replacing them with these positive thoughts in a way, right? Also, the Fool, at first, feels like they're just kind of bumbling around the universe, getting knocked around by life, and sometimes it's just like, man, life's been hard, you know? Sometimes the Fool will stumble into a lot of good things and will say, life is good. But it's either way. The Fool, as the Fool is, it's unintentional. The Fool is just seeking novelty. You give the Fool a sword, and what do you get? You get a Knight of the Holy Grail. You get someone who is living intentionally, knows their value, their worth, their truth, and is pursuing that with intention, knowing their connection with the divine. Okay, that sword is crowned with spirit. It's our thought that is receiving the divine blessings, grace, the divine influence, the divine light, the spiritual light, the cosmic rays, you know. This is one heck of a confirmation. I think this has got to be the best reading I've done for you. I can't believe we got the Fool and the Fool's quest, the Fool's mission. Right now we feel like we're on a hero. We're no longer a fool. We're a hero on a quest. We're no longer a fool just sort of wandering about the universe. We're a Knight of the Holy Grail. Right? Now we have a quest. And I like this. And of course, the Ace of Swords is the clearing away of the thoughts, right? It's the ability to have this connection with the divine without the interference, without the opposition, without the resistance, right? We've cleared all that stuff away. Major breakthrough here for you. I absolutely love this reading, and we're going to do an extended reading as well. We'll do some Jing readings. We'll do some oracle cards. There's a link up top, and there's a link down below. New readings for Scorpio on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Be sure to watch both readings. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. The readings are totally free. Okay. Leave a comment. Let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you. And I love you. And we're all in this together.